Hey, Max here. Welcome to the show. I just got off work. I'm ready for the holiday. I'm off work the rest of the day. And tomorrow I'll be working again Thursday. So I hope all of you have a safe and great holiday. Get great stuff. Spend time with your family. See movies. Go see video games. We'll start this off with today with this story. This is brought to us by David Jaffe. Now, on his channel, I'll provide a link in the description. It's good or bad news depending on what you think. I probably will do a certain thumbnail that suggests oh no, because to me it's an oh no. There are some that will be happy by this news. And I want to pose a question. It's about 1943, Captain America and Black Panther. I know a lot are looking forward to that game, including my pal CJH. I am too. It looks awesome. I would really like both a Captain America and a Black Panther video game, along with Wonder Woman and other characters that don't get video games dedicated to them very often. Unfortunately, to us that want an action adventure game. Now, this is not confirmed, as you'll see in Jaffe's video. I'm not going to watch the whole video. I'm just going to take out the clips because he did the research on Amy Hennig, the game director behind 1943. There are signs to point that it points to being potentially like a Telltale's game, like a story-focused game that's got options instead of action-adventure gameplay. I'm sorry, Jaffe, I just covered you up. Okay, so this is before she started. This is from 2019, her talking with Tim Schafer of Double Fine, talking about what they could potentially, an opening for the game industry that they're not serving. I personally can't stand when game directors do this, thinking that to appeal to the mass market, that you have to make the game more simplistic or, and less inputs to appeal to the mass market. I am, however, a fan of options. If you want a spectator mode, go right ahead. As long as you got the hardcore gaming options, action adventure. But limiting it and forcing the players to do this or this type, or some may say it's marketed as this kind. I don't think the people that are excited about this game have any idea that this could be potentially the type of game. I think they're assuming because Amy Hennig worked at Naughty Dog, worked on Uncharted, I believe, and maybe the first Last of Us, I'm not sure. She was working on an action-adventure Star Wars game that got canceled, that it's also going to be an action-adventure, maybe like third-person video game. That's seeming less and less likely based on what she's saying. So you should hear this. So David provides a link or provides a YouTube video and then an article of his sourcing as to the reason he believes that this is not an action adventure game and maybe a mass market game in the vein of those story games like Telltale or something like that, but maybe with slightly more options. But does not sound like you're going to get a full motion range of actions as an action adventure game. Does not sound that way. So let's watch this, listen to this.
But I find myself most fascinated by this feeling like there is a huge shift coming in 2 to 5 years, maybe a little bit longer, where our content is going to be able to reach people a lot more frictionlessly than.
Now, I disagree with her. My interpretation of what she's saying is that we should try to appeal to the mass market. I do think you should do that, but not at the costs of the hardcore that have brought you this far. I think that's where game developers lose their way. I actually want to reach out to David Jaffe because I love this topic, and I think people do need to know about this game. So if you want to see me and David interact again, I reached out to him on Twitter. Please thumbs up this video and say in the comments section, yeah, David, bring on Max of MME to talk about this. I'm all for options. I like, for example, I love Nintendo. I like the Wiimote. I like things like that. But the reason a lot of games are not easily accessible now and are kind of forgotten in that era, including DS, Kinect games, is they force the option. No option. They force that control scheme on it. We have all the technology to give players options. I want a spectator mode for sure, with limited things you have to do, so you could just really feel like you're still doing something, interacting in some way to make it a video game and not just a video. But for those people, maybe have a movie mode. I mean, games have done that before. Unlock a movie or movie with multiple choice, once it's done. But I'm not a fan of this. I know there's fans of Telltale games. I don't think it's mass market, though. I think that would be a mistake. And we're assuming that's what she means by this. Maybe she has a completely out of the box new type of way to do this, but I just don't see it. All right.
That in the past, it's going to reach a much bigger audience, and we should be starting to make things for them now. Mm-hmm. And I look at what we've learned anecdotally, the phenomenon that we've seen with games like Uncharted and The Last of Us, and Supermassive Saw is a very similar phenomenon with Until Dawn, where the games are just as watchable as they are playable.
Yes, I agree with that.
Like Twitch streaming or a YouTube, playthrough. I mean, like, they are just as entertaining to be in the list.
Even sometimes more so. For example, I think the Uncharted games are better than the movie. No offense to the people that made the movie, but I just think it's on another level ahead of the movie. So even more so, but I think it's a mistake to just make them like interactive movies and not full on gameplay. That's what I love about gaming is range of motion. I love lots of abilities, lots of actions, lots of inputs on the controller. That's how I connect to these characters, as I feel like I'm controlling them instead of just selecting a scene or an option or a dialogue tree, which you can fancy it up and make it look like it's more than that. But basically, you're selecting a dialogue tree, a quick time event. Maybe you'll shake the controller because even though we're on PS5, they still have that. Some things like the motion in the controller, I believe, from Astrobot. So maybe you'll be doing stuff like that, but it's really the same thing. I don't think there's a way to really be innovative and groundbreaking on that front. All right.
Living room while someone is playing, and it's not that the rest of the people are there as passive observers, they're collaborators.
And some of them are better that way. I mean, like, I thought I was playing Until Dawn. I thought it was great, and then I played it with a group of people who were all yelling at what to do, and I was like, "Oh, this is how you're supposed to play this game."
Exactly, right? And so those of us in the game industry have seen this effect, this phenomenon, and we're aware of it, but we haven't necessarily embraced it to say, how do we actually make more of that?
And I think that's a great opportunity to get more gamers in, but I just the vibe I feel like they're creating a new problem by trying to branch to a new audience instead of options. What would be great is if you had like this would be the way to make things amazing for me. Okay, you do the action adventure game with like in the style of Uncharted or something like that. You have a full game there. And then, I mean, you're paying $70, do $80 for the premium edition. Do an add-on, a Telltale add-on using that graphics and have them do the spectator movie mode with, hire them. That would be amazing. Or a comparable developer that can handle that too. It doesn't have to be Telltale because Telltale's down out of they moved on to I forget what they're called now. But that would be the next level for me.
We actually designed for that, and understanding that, like, trying to convert people that don't consider themselves gamers, there's so many obstacles for them. Are they going to buy the console? Even when somebody else bought it and it's sitting there, do they understand which input to turn on? Are they intimidated by it? Do they want to touch that 15, 20 button controller? It looks like a porcupine sitting on your coffee table. It's incredibly intimidating. And then you add on to that the fact that, because we think of gaming a certain way, that we're making things that are, they're difficult, they're a little bit hard to approach. It's about mastery, it's about competition, all these things.
Yes, those are good things for gaming.
A mainstream audience who just wants to settle in and experience a story don't necessarily want all those things. And so maybe we just, in that sense, you get away from the word game and you think about more like taking what we know how to do and make these much more accessible experiences for people that would probably welcome interactivity if we made it for them.
Yeah.
Right. Again, everything could have changed since this. This is before she joined as of Skydance New Media, right? Okay, but that's the first breadcrumb. Okay.
All right. And I'm going to pause it here and show, subscribe to Jaffe. I like him. I don't agree with all his takes. I actually would want to, talk to him about one of his takes that I completely disagreed with recently. Okay, so this is the other part. I don't need to play it there. Oh, you can't see it. I'll go this way. By challenging established design dogma and exploring new genres, mechanics, and means of player input, we believe we'll see an explosion of creative, interactive experiences that are inviting and appealing to everyone, expanding our audience by an order of magnitude. In theory, that sounds great. In execution, in what I've been seeing in the game industry, is you see quick time events, dialogue trees, like I said before, options that I do not think enhance the game for everyone. Some people like that stuff, and I think it actually makes it more niche instead of an explosion to the mass market. I don't think gaming is going to reach mass market. It already is, but have more people adopt the game by simplifying it, maybe giving more options and more appeal. I would say another mode. We're spending $70 here. Do $80, $90 premium edition with spectator mode, or having it as unlockable. I mean, maybe some people think $70 justifies to having two modes. We're actually getting less modes than we used to in video games too. I know the costs. The talking about exploding is the cost of development for these AAA titles. But that's my initial thoughts. I would love to hear from you about Marvel 1943, Captain America, and Black Panther. It seems like you should hold on to your Avengers game disc because it's delisted, and that may be the only way you get a fully playable Black Panther, unfortunately. And I don't know, not Captain America. There's a great PS3, Xbox 360 game, and Black Panther's been in other games too, but I don't think this is what people signed on for or thought it was, and the marketing hasn't really portrayed that yet, what it is. We don't really know. Lots of questions there. Let me know what you think about this topic. Please suggest other topics in the comments section, and I'll talk to you real soon. Have a good one.